Yay. Hi, everybody.
Hello. So I'm Dr. Catherine Meeks from the Executive Director of the Absalom Jones Center, and I'm here with Reverend Matt Hyde from the Heavenly Rest Episcopal Church in New York. And we are so delighted to be here to be engaged in a conversation about our work together and our partnership and the wonderful occasion of having Reverend Hyde join us as a board member for the Absalom Jones Center. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Dr. Meeks. It's nice to be here. I'm grateful to be in conversation with you today and over time.
Yes, and we've had such delightful conversations just about our work. And I think since we don't have a all day, let's just dive right into
Mhm.
what we do and why is this work, the collaboration, so important, and just kind of how how our journeys have intersected. And
Well, just to say how much my parish, Heavenly Rest, has appreciated the relationship and the conversations with you, and how much it means to us, and how we're excited about sharing the work of Absalom Jones Center with the whole Episcopal Church, because we all need to be involved in the conversations that you're leading.
well, and the thing that I believe is the real work of the center is the mobilization of parishes.
Mhm.
I think that's the real work. I think the work I think it just makes sense that this work of racial healing should be done in the parish, which is church, that's supposed to be trying to be what God called us to be, instead of having extraneous organizations like commissions and centers doing the holy work of the church, which is healing around race and all other brokenness. To have these organizations like us help parishes really get clearer clear and clearer about that, and then to support that work in whatever ways we can. I think that's the only job we've got, and my basic commitment is, can we put ourselves out of business
Mhm.
because the churches would take up that work? And I have to say to those that are listening today that Heavenly Rest has done a really good job of stepping up to that plate and taking up that work in some amazing ways, which is so encouraging to me, and it can be a model, I think, too, throughout the church. I mean, there are lots of churches that are doing the work. There are lots of churches that are not doing the work, and our goal and intention is that someday every church would be doing the work.
That's what we believe too, and excited for the center to be able to help catalyze that as possible. I wanted to say you mentioned the work that our parish is doing. We always do work as a team. It's always
Mm,
collaborative, and so our incredible leaders, Frida
hmm.
Johnson and Lindsay Counts, have led this
Yeah.
work from our vestry, and then Diane Pollard and Chester Johnson, both of whom
Yes.
are good friends of yours, have been so important helping us listen to where the Spirit's calling in this part of our life.
Hmm. And to see you step up to the plate with courage, I think that, you know, oh, there's so much fear about losing parishioners if you tell the real truth. Well, you may lose some, but you will gain some other folks who are interested in the truth. Have you found that to be the case?
Yes. Folks want to be involved in something that's real,
Hmm.
that follows the Spirit and addresses the healing work that you've helped us to see, but which God calls all of us to. And so I think that the Spirit draws people in. And
Hmm.
in this moment, when so much is uncertain and so much of the world is upside down and so much is broken, to be part of a place that's committed to healing, I think is attractive, even if it can
Hmm.
be the conversations can be difficult, and
Hmm.
but we know that God's with us through difficult conversations, and so that's an okay thing to be part of.
And so, one of the things we say at the Absalom Jones Center is that we are a brave space where the truth can be told,
Right.
and we count on trying to do that.
Mhm.
And people have cautioned me at different times, if you tell the truth this way, people won't give you money. And I have said, God will take care of us, and if God quits taking care of us, then we won't be taken care of. And if not telling the truth, it has to be a reason to to do that so you can stay in business. Then we need to go out of business
Well,
because
you've talked about the importance of grassroots, street level Christian communities, the parishes and congregations,
Mhm,
across the
mhm,
country, and that's where the Spirit is living and moving in dynamic ways. And we believe, and we've learned from you, as well as other partners like Kelly Brown Douglas Episcopal Divinity School, that it's impossible to be a Christian community without doing the work of racial healing. And
mhm.
in our city, in all cities, that's true. And so um, I think it's maybe countercultural, but should be deeply Christian culture to have these honest conversations. And you've helped us create a brave space, and for that we are incredibly grateful.
Well, we're so amazingly grateful that you're busy young rector in a church that's really trying to do the work, and you are taking the time to join us on the board. I mean, that we are we have moved from being just a local Episcopal center with the mandate from the presiding bishop to be a resource for the entire church. But when we started, we were just a little shoestring operation here. We have moved from that to becoming an international presence, and we need, in order to keep up with ourselves, to nationalize our board, to expand ourselves, and to not be afraid to go where the organic life has taken us. And so I want to say publicly how grateful I am that you are willing to do that, and that your energy and energeticness about it all has been just such a gift and so inspiring. So uh, I want to take this opportunity to have whoever is listening to hear us say thank you so much for that, and we're going to see how hard we can get you to work as we go.
Well, Catherine, anyone who calls me young rector is like, I'm there.
Well, you seem very young to me. I mean, I'm pretty much a good few many years older than you, so but I'm so grateful.
What you and Bishop Wright have created is a remarkable gift, and to be able to share it is a privilege. And so to be invited to be part of the board was something I was eager to be part of and eager to support, because I know our parish has and will benefit by the relationship. And I know that you and I have begun these conversations with people nationally, and you can feel the energy in the connections that you've made through all the programs and through the parishes. I think will be part of this wider national network that we together can create.
Yes, and so Matt, as you all have navigated your way, I mean, you're in the big New York City with so many competing things going on. What do you find to be one of the biggest challenges to trying to get this work done?
Um, I think it's important. Life, especially in the last couple of years, life in the world can be so distracting. It's important to keep telling the story of why the work is important, why the work of racial healing is central to our Christian faith and central to the life of a parish. And so I guess the biggest challenge is not to be distracted by
Yeah.
all that's happening. And it's been a difficult several years for everybody. And there have been things that have changed and things have been uncovered. And so to not seek to go back to where we were, where we didn't recognize the things that needed the work of the Spirit and the work of the church to heal them, but to keep focused, keep moving forward, and keep in relationship with people. All that we do with you is to learn and to listen, and that's been incredibly helpful to us. We know we can't do this Heavenly Rest at all by ourselves, but do it in partnership and relationship and by being students and listening. The work that you've done and for the resources
Well,
you've given.
thank you. And one of the things that I find myself being preoccupied about these days is helping white people to understand that racism has wounded them.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, in your parish, do you find people aware of that? I mean, people get It's not just about the world's messed up, race is a problem, but you cannot live in a racist society
Mm-mm.
as we have constructed society in this country without everybody being wounded
Mm-hmm.
in some way or another. So I wonder what some of your thinking might be around that, and how you find that message being kind of put out or needing to be put out within your parish. And this is kind of a new arena for me as a leader of the center, is to get deeper into trying to help white people really get that clearer in their heads that you're wounded too. It's not just about you helping black and brown people
Mm-hmm.
get liberated. So when sometimes when white people say, well, we talk about race too much. If we quit talking about it, we wouldn't have so many problems. And we think, well, I'm thinking, well, but you're in it. It's not like you
Right.
get to stand on the outside and say, well, we've done enough now. I mean, we're all wounded here.
Right.
And so I just would like to hear you talk about that a little bit.
Well, understand it in our heads and feel it in our hearts
Yeah.
that racism, white supremacy has broken all of us. And so it requires all of us to be part of the healing process. And that, I think, requires white folk to listen and be open to change and to changing the structures which have, I think our parish agrees, wounded us all. Again, to mention a mutual friend, Dean Douglas, I talked one time with her about being allies. She said, not allies, because allies means is you're helping someone with their problem.
Right.
We are co-laborers together
Right.
towards healing. And I think that's what you've helped us do. And I think underline twice what you said about this being racism, white supremacy being a wound that all of us share. And all of us have to be part of helping solve it, which will take generations, and it's a long-term work. We have to do it every day.
That is so right. And I'm right there with Dean Kelly about the whole ally business. Though the language I use about that is I want white people to understand that it's a pilgrimage. Your fellow pilgrims. We're fellow pilgrims on this journey toward healing. And I love the image that is created in my mind by Henry Nouwen's book, Wounded Healer.
Mm-hmm.
The notion that all of us are wounded, but some of us are a little further down the healing road, and we kind of have scoped out some of the bandage closets. And so when you talk about me as teacher, it's just that I know where a few bandage closets are, and I'm saying, here, come here with me because I found bandages here. And then we bandage up each other and we go looking for the next bandages. And that kind of collaborative healing work feels so right to me, as opposed to somebody's got the answers and let me tell them to you. And I resist people trying to get the answers out of me that's because I don't think that's how you can do this. I think we've got to be in this organic process of walking on this road together and being committed to one another. And being a pilgrim is so different from being an ally. An ally can come and go when they feel like they've done enough. A pilgrim is in it forever with you. A fellow pilgrim is in it forever. And so I just think we have to say a lot more about that, because people love to talk about ally. It's like it's the dress you can put on or the shirt you can put on and off, take it up, put it on, take it off when you get ready to rest. That's not exactly how it works.
Collaborative healing is such a wonderful phrase, and pilgrimage is a great way to understand the road we're walking together and need to walk together.
And it mitigates against this hierarchical nonsense that somebody's better off than somebody else, because all we do is kind of reinvent the superiority mentality with that. I'm better off because I'm more well than you. Well, really? Does that make you well because you're sitting here thinking that, or are you well when you're in it with somebody and you both are getting well? I think I'm more well if you're also getting well. Having my sisters and brothers get well makes me more well, not my superiority about being well. So it's every day. It's a vigilance, isn't it? That's necessary to keep your head about you.
Right. And there is, as difficult as it can be, there is joy in doing the work together and
Hmm.
finding new friends and allies. And the movement towards healing is a movement towards wholeness, not only for us, but for the world. And
Yeah.
that's a very hopeful direction.
And for me, the friendship with you all has been so marvelous because it has yielded so many different things, including coconut cake and lemon bars. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's part of pilgrimage. You can't do pilgrimage without coconut cake. I think that's definably
yeah,
true. I don't know that now one mentions coconut cake, but maybe you
yeah,
should.
yeah. No, well, it's part of healing for me, and particularly of late from having surgeries, I've found lemon bars to be quite therapeutic as well. But I think it is so important to become human beings with each other
Right.
and to engage in one another's lives in ways that get us down off of whatever these stools we've sat ourselves on and decided the distance was too great to make the journey from one to the other, because it can't be too long. We have got to make that journey from across the different kinds of barriers we've set up. And I grieve at the black people, brown people, and white people who don't think they can make the journey, who do think it's too long, because that's really the one of the best gifts the church has to give is the community that says you actually can do this.
Mhm.
As hard as it might be, you can do it because we're all here together.
Well, and you've helped us do that absolutely as a parish to tell folks watching that you've been part of our Sunday morning online forums in a way that
Yeah.
our folks still talk about. You provide daily meditations to our community through February
Mhm.
this year, and we're eager to find more ways to collaborate. Both
Mhm.
grateful for your willingness to be part of our conversations, but to share what the center is doing. Y'all do more than 60 programs a year. How many programs?
Yeah, we've done well since excuse me, since COVID. We had to move from doing in-person things to virtual
Mhm.
program, and I'm guessing over the last 2 years we've done about a total of 70 programs, which is kind of wait. That's in addition to at least 50 dismantling racism
Mhm.
sessions. So that's over 100
Mhm.
offerings in this 2 year period,
Mhm.
which sort of boggles our minds when we think about it. And I want to say to people right now, we just designed for our website what we call a program catalog. And
Mhm.
there is a tab on our website that says program catalog. And you can go there and you will find every program we have done, the flyers for them. And if you click on whichever flyer you're interested in, it takes you right to that program on the YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So it's very easy to get to. People don't have to hunt for it or go search the website to see what might be interesting. You can just go there and you see it all. And we want to continue to make that website a resource library. And we offer every program we have done. Anybody can use it in any way they want to for teaching purposes in their own environment. So, we have that's the kind of resource that I think will make the best difference. And it's not just about black and whites, it's about Asians, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, Latinx people, and Native people. So that because those are the four major groups, five groups that we took upon ourselves to really focus in on and try to have materials there. We're just getting ready in May actually to do a panel on with
Mhm.
Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders about issues confronting them. And we will be doing similar things with Latinx people and Indigenous people later on. And because we have got to widen the scope here. It's easy to just end up talking about blacks and whites, which is really critical, but
Mhm.
it's also critical for us not to get exclusive in the work and leave out other groups that have suffered tremendously from oppression as well.
Well, and you've asked folks to subscribe to your resources. So again, people watching, go to your website
Mhm,
and just they'll get regular resources from you and to build
mhm,
the network of communities around the world potentially, but certainly around the United States, who are
Yeah.
touring and participating regularly in the center's programs.
And to think about it, I mean, I because I just put my head down and get in the trenches and go to work. And I don't get to talk a lot about how much work we've done. We're 4.5 years old, and we have gone from being this little suitcase organization to an international center working in Latin America and other places. And in addition to that, we do podcasts, and I do a blog every other week, and we have all these programs, and we just outfitted our place so we can do live streaming now of every program. So to watch us go from where we were to where we are, and to imagine where we can go now, because we've got this foundation and we're expanding the board, and we hope to bring in board members from all of the provinces so that there'll be much wider ability for people to help make us more visible. And it is phenomenal, and it's a phenomenal blessing, and it's clear that we're on the right track.
Mhm.
There's no question about that. I mean, that is quite clear. And racism has got to go, particularly out of the church.
Mhm.
That is clear too. And so, and we can't get tired. We've got to keep on holding each other's hands and stepping up to the plate.
Well, and we mentioned one thing that I'm excited about that you're doing in May, and I'd love for you to talk more about, is you're
Yeah.
preaching at National Cathedral on May 26th,
Yeah.
and then you're talking to David Brooks. Now, this is going to be ways we think about the national network. We're going to share
Mhm.
this. We're going to invite people to share it so everyone can
Mhm.
see your sermon, but be part of that conversation. Talk about what that's going to be, because that's very exciting.
Well, for this little country girl from Arkansas, it's a long journey from the sharecropping fields of my father to the Washington National Cathedral, and I'm very humbled by the invitation and very excited about it. And I feel like that this is just another example of what the amazing organicity in terms of telling the truth, what how organic, uh how telling the truth is a force for organicity. You tell the truth, you take your steps forward, you don't try to hedge your bet, you just keep doing what you need to do, and you don't know where you'll end up. That's what I've been doing for a lot of years, and here I am ending up preaching at the Washington National Cathedral and sitting down with David Brooks, somebody that I really have admired for a very long time, in May, which is just pretty amazing to me. And I'm just thankful that I get to do that, but I get to take my sharecropping father, my little brother who died because he couldn't get medical care at 12 years old, and all of the other people who have suffered tremendously to make it possible for me to exist. I get to bring them with me to that moment. And that is, if you want to know what is the most exciting to me, it's that I get to bring them with me, and to say I am the result of a lot of your suffering, and I'm grateful for it. And I hope I can communicate that in some kind of concrete way that people can actually understand. I'm thankful that the gospel for that day is Jesus at the pool of Bethsaida
Okay.
asking the gentleman if he wants to be healed, because that's one of my favorite gospel stories.
Mm.
And I've thought about it
Me too.
so much, and I thought, thank God the gospel's not something so weird that I can't understand it, but that's a gospel I've been living with a lot. But my effort to be healed has made me be on this journey, and it's led me from my father's sharecropping field to the Washington National Cathedral. And you just don't know where your journey is going to take you if you keep saying yes to all the invitations.
That's right. That's well.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing that and to sharing it. But what a
Yeah.
powerful thing to take your family with you into that pulpit that day.
Yes, take the they would not have to, well, and one other thing I probably ought to tell the audience is that I'm also receiving the Joseph R.
Yes.
Biden Lifetime Achievement Award for Service in August.
Mhm.
I'm being honored for my lifetime of work. And again, you put your head down and you do your work. And sometimes some stuff like this happens, but you don't do the work because you think it might happen. You do the work because it needs to be done. And then if it happens, you celebrate. So I'm celebrating. It took me a while. At first I thought they made a mistake and they sent the letter to the wrong person. And then when I got over that, then I thought, okay, yeah, it's really mine. It's my name on here. But I'm just very grateful for all of that. And what I want to say is that all of these things hopefully will help to enlarge the work,
Mhm. Right.
to help people catch a glimpse of the work a little more because it helps to make it more visible.
I think that's 100% right. And your leadership in your life and your willingness to share your life has made a difference
Yeah,
to us and to me. And I know it does to the rest of the folks
yeah.
or the center's work. Do you want to talk about your books? You're doing 2 different books at the moment.
Well, I'm very furiously writing a book right now called "A New Way to See and a New Way to Be: Racial Meditations on Racial Healing." That book will be finished in the next 2 weeks, thanks be to God, and will be coming out in November. And then I will be doing a memoir that's coming out next year. So I'm very, very grateful for opportunities to write. The Meditations on Healing book is gonna it's pretty tough. It's talking about the journey to racial healing and the some like the losses, the loneliness, the fear, the courage, a lot of the pieces of the puzzle, the woundings and what kinds of wounds we have. I'm trying to talk in this book about things that we don't ordinarily talk about when we talk about racial healing, because I think we have to talk about the hard stuff in order to get it out on the table in the light so that it can stop hiding out and tripping us up, because we get tripped up by the stuff that try to deny. And the most important work that we will ever do is the inner journey work. And I also say the longest distance you have to travel is from your head to your heart,
Mhm.
because we just keep putting up barriers to keep from making that journey. And I'm totally committed to how much that journey's got to be made, and my writings give me a chance to talk about that. So I'm thankful for the capacity to write. And I've written the book on Ida B. Wells, co-authored with Nib Stroop, on called Passionate for Justice, and then Living into God's Dream, which is an edited book on racial healing.
Mhm.
But they're not prescriptions. They are efforts to get people to start asking questions and trying to uh, listen to their own hearts for their own answers, because you do have to find your own answers.
I look forward to reading both those books
Yeah.
and to be able to
Yes.
share them with this with the network
Yeah.
that we're developing.
Yes, and that I know I see that we have pretty much gotten to the end of our time here, but I want to say again, I grew up in Arkansas where I didn't have any white people in my life, and I never did know until I went to college that it was possible to find white people that I could care about. And I met 3 white people who taught me that I could love white people. Had they not done that, this relationship, this relationship with you and so many other white people would not be possible. It would not be possible for me to do this work. But because they did that, I'm able to be here and to be present and to have this kind of friendship and camaraderie with you and so many other people. And it's a part of my own healing and liberation. And that to me is what the whole journey is about anyway. Getting yourself out of prison and sharing how you got out of prison so other people can get out of prison is what the work is about. And so thank you for being a presence and a wonderful companion and buddy and a fellow pilgrim.
Well, I'm grateful to be a friend and fellow pilgrim, and
And thank you.
thank you for all that you do. Just to say, for all the people whose lives have been changed by your leadership and by your life, thank you,
Yeah.
Catherine.
Well, and thanks everyone for joining us, and I'm especially thankful to Bishop Rob Wright and the Diocese of Atlanta for his undying support. It had not it been for his absolute support, who has never turned me down for anything I have asked him to do or to be engaged with. And I mean, that's pretty big to be able to say for the last 10 years. I've worked with this bishop, and anything I have asked him for or to help me with about this work, he has said yes to. And I am so grateful for that. So I just want people to know that it makes a difference when your bishop is 150% in it with you too. So thank you, Bishop Wright, and all of the folks that help to make this work go as well as it does. So we will see you soon. And thanks, everybody.